What's going on, everybody? Hello there. Welcome to our live Star Wars stream, weekly Star Wars stream, Going Rogue. I'm Andrew Dimalanta.
I'm Nicki Dimalanta.
And like always, we're trying to get guests in weekly for this show. And for this show, we're sticking with Schmodown personalities. That seems to be like 80% of our guests. You might. Oh, geez. Echo. Somebody didn't have their phone turned down.
Somebody didn't have the volume down. What an asshole.
But this guy hasn't debuted in the Schmodown just yet. But if you've been to a live event, you've probably seen him off to the side, just being a badass. He is the muscle of the Finstock Exchange. BC, how you doing, my man?
What's up, man? Great to be on the show, dude. I'm excited. This is awesome.
Yeah. I'm just making sure you're not having echoes in here because that's always what happens. But yeah, man, it's great to have you on the show. We met in Chicago, my debut in the Schmodown. Just like this towering man comes up to me. You need to get in here, man. I was like,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I need to get in there. I'm one of the competitors.
We're just standing to the side, like, what do we do?
Where do we go? We have nowhere to go.
Oh, I remember that because that in the at Celebration, right?
Yeah.
And I remember because BJ and like he kept telling people, "Oh, it's okay. BC's gonna get his in. BC's gonna get his in." I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on, I get the competitors in. I can't get you guys. And so he's got a line of people that he wants me to let into the show. I'm like, bro, I can't just let y'all in.
Leave the big man. Follow the big man in. They won't fight the big man. Let's let these people in. But yeah, I don't remember ever having any problems getting in. So I think it worked out.
Yeah, it worked.
But yeah, I'm glad to have you on the show, man. This is actually the first time we actually spend an extended time talking to you, obviously, because like we briefly talked at Celebration, just like back and forth. But like I'm excited that the first time we're actually sitting down with you is about Star Wars, because you look at you and you're like, that guy's not a geek, he's not. But you look on your Instagram, you have a bunch of geek stuff on there. I'm like, this guy's perfect to talk to.
I grew up Star Wars, bro.
Yeah.
That is like the reason I'm a film fan. The reason I'm a professional wrestling. It's funny because it's telling stories, and that's what I do. I'm a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And my love of telling stories came from my love of film, which came from my love of Star Wars.
Nice.
So I even had a Star Wars gimmick for a little while in
wrestling.
That's
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our writers weren't a fan of it, so it didn't last.
No. So, yeah.
But man, I tried so hard. I was calling myself Darth Jakas.
That's
Nice.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So next, for those who aren't that are joining us right now, go ahead and submit your Streamlabs to Andrew and Nicki.stream for your questions. We might have a couple of patron commanders come in and give us some topics. But like every time we do on this show, we like to start off because Clone Wars season 7 is still continuing. We have 2 episodes left. I hate that we have 2 episodes left, but like we always do, we'd like to talk non-spoilers, of course. BC, what have your thoughts been on this last season of Clone Wars?
Well, when it first started, the first couple episodes, I was like, okay, so we're not going to do anything important. These are just going to be some random stories and it kind of felt like we didn't get to tell this when we were on, so we're just going to tell these stories here now.
Yeah.
But then we're finishing really strong.
Oh, yes. These last couple episodes.
But these last 2, and I know we have 2 more, so I feel like this just could have been a movie that they put out.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's how it's going to end too. And I am absolutely loving it, because I remember when I first started watching Clone Wars, I was not a fan of Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
I hated her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's one of my favorite characters.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm loving that we're really getting into kind of what actually happened with her, not just this little side story with the sisters, but now we're actually getting to see some real cool stuff with her. I'm loving what they're doing.
Yeah.
And especially the showdowns with Maul and where we're going to take this. It's intense, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but that lightsaber battle, again, no spoilers. I'm not trying to spoil how the outcome of it is, but that fight between Ahsoka and Maul, I said this on Twitter, I'm bold statement, that might be my favorite lightsaber fight ever. It's so good. It is so insanely good because you have flurries of prequel era type of fighting, and then we're frozen. Why are we frozen? But then I can see it on our OBS. We're frozen. I might have to restart something. But
no.
But yeah, there's it has like the flair of because they motion captured Ray Park and stuff, and the way he moves is so cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed that lightsaber fight, and I feel like I believe it was I think it was Ben Goddard. Somebody mentioned that he saw like Filoni coming to the studio to Lucasfilm being like, yeah, I can totally see him be pitching this as a movie, but then like, well, we want to stretch it out into a series, so let's get the first like 8 episodes are just like basically quote unquote filler, and then we got into the real meat of it, which I almost guaranteed that these last 4 episodes could have been a movie, and it's like let's split it up into 4 episodes just so we can milk it as much as it's worth. But I could totally see that. But I've been loving these past couple episodes because I wasn't really attached to the sisters and the spice running. It's like okay, I'm like waiting for them to tie it back into the story, because why introduce these characters just to have them just go off like and not do anything else afterwards. So I'm waiting for them to bring it back. But yeah, anything else about these episodes that you want to talk about besides the lightsaber fight?
Like you're saying, dude. Like I feel like you're saying it was very filler. Like I feel the Bad Batch were like scripts that they had, and they're like, well, we never use these. If we have to extend this season, not just do a movie, let's use these scripts that we have. And then let's throw in this other little thing that ties into Solo with the Pikes and Kessel with Ahsoka, and then it feels like a full season. But you're right, dude. And I guess if it was Ben, like it feels like Dave Filoni did want to do a movie, and just extended this.
And how like poetic would that have been? It started with a movie that everybody just absolutely hated. And then you cap it off with this amazing movie and story. It's like everybody just loves it. Can you imagine that's just like the poetic justice for that? That would have been awesome. And like I think they could still do this. This might be the biggest secret kept ever in Lucasfilm history, besides the Darth Vader being Luke's father thing. That this could have been a whole. They can be like, yeah, you have like 2 more episodes. And like, surprise, we have a movie for you to end it all. I would lose my mind if they do that. Doubtful they'll do that, but I would love if they ended up doing that anyways.
That would be awesome, man. I would love that.
That'd be so cool.
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking from a little Star Wars nerd, but
you know what else I love, and again, not to really get into the spoilers of everything, but like the tie-ins to Revenge of the Sith that they're doing.
I forgot to mention
are so on point.
Oh
man.
yeah,
like because you're sitting there going like, oh, I see what's going on. That's not good. Okay.
Yeah, because at this point in this last episode, they're in the middle of Revenge of the Sith, and it's like, oh, we're at that point in the movie. Oh god, and like it's like okay, stuff's about to go down. So it's gonna be bad news for a lot of people at this point. Like, oh god, what's gonna happen? So I love that it's running into the storyline. And that's like, because that's something that like, everything that we were promised from when they announced, oh, season 7 is coming back. It's like everything that we were expecting, everything that we wanted to see is now happening, and we waited we had to wait 8 episodes into this to get to this point. And it's like, again, they might come back and like maybe Trace and Rafa are the ones that help Ahsoka off of Mandalore, or the Bad Batch come in and try to hunt down Ahsoka or something. It's like, again, I think they have to do something like that. Otherwise, why introduce all these new characters to have their only arc in Clone Wars is 4 episodes, and you never see them again. Yeah. So, have you how familiar with other forms like novels and stuff like that? Are you familiar with the Ahsoka novel at all?
No, I'm not. I would love to actually read it. I've never really been like, even growing up, I wasn't a big person into the expanded universe.
Yeah, me neither.
I just kind of focused on the films when I was a kid, and now I kind of focus on all the media, not so much the comics or the books or anything like that.
Yeah, like I would absolutely recommend the Ahsoka novel, because everything that we're seeing right now was hinted at in the book. It's because like they said, oh, the Siege of Mandalore. I'm like, I want to know what the Siege of Mandalore is. What is that? And we're finally seeing the Siege of Mandalore. But like in the book, you get to see how she gets her white lightsabers from Rebels, and it's like that's pretty much the bulk of the movie. It's like it keep coming back to like she's gathering parts for her lightsabers, and it's like that's really cool. So and I would absolutely recommend doing audiobooks, because I do all audiobooks, and like they put sound effects, music. It's like a tiny little production. It's like listening to a movie.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's listening to a movie basically. So I would absolutely recommend with that. So that was us briefly talking about Clone Wars and where we're at. Again, if you want to get a deeper dive on this, join the Patreon at the $5 level, the captain's level. I do audio commentaries for all the episodes. I'm dropping this last episode. I'm doing that tomorrow, so that will be going up for our patrons tomorrow. Hopefully, if all goes well.
Yeah.
So go to patreon.com/Andrew and Nikki to sign up for that. So now we're going to get into Star Wars news. Any Star Wars news. It's very slow-moving news. Where's the cursor? Where's the cursor? There it is. So, Nikki, you can go ahead and kick us off with the first news story that we have. The interesting news stories that I brought, because my main source is Star Wars Newsnet. And anything that comes up that's interesting, I'm like, let's go ahead and talk about that on the show. So this one's kind of like a no-duh news story.
So the untitled Cassian Andor series adds 2 new cast members. One is Genevieve O'Reilly is reprising her role as Mon Mothma. Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the big news. I think the other ones were kind of like, we have no idea who they are just yet.
Denise, I don't know how you say her name, Goff. But her role has not been revealed yet. Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk are coming back as, they're, of course, why wouldn't they? But yeah, I think the biggest thing is Genevieve O'Reilly coming back as Mon Mothma.
This is when I say no duh, it's like, no duh. She was in Rogue One as Mon Mothma. Besides Davit's Raven, Cassian reports to her besides Davik. So, but she's one of the higher ups that he has to report to. So it's like, it's no doubt Mon Mothma has to be in the series because it makes complete sense. What are your thoughts on this?
I love the continuity of it. I love when you are able to bring people in and that have already played the role, and you can keep doing it. And plus, she's voiced the character too.
Oh yeah.
And I believe Rebels. I don't know if it was in Clone Wars or not, but I know she did in Rebels.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to say. But I will say, I think do actually have a title. It's called.
Oh, we're losing you. Oh no.
That's in Andor.
It's untitled.
I think it's untitled. We kind of lost you there for a second when you were talking.
Oh, okay. All right. You got me now. Am I back?
Yeah.
All right. Well, see, I've actually decided to title it myself.
Oh, okay.
It's called the K2SO show.
Probably, yeah. I think people that'd be really well received.
I think that's the biggest reason. Yeah, that's why. Because I really liked him in that series.
That'd be great.
When they first announced it, I was like, really? Do we really need a Cassian Andor? And they go, K2SO's coming back. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah, because out of all the new droids from the new movies, I think K2's kind of like everybody's on board for him because I feel that what's her name, L3 was almost a carbon copy of him. Like it was trying too much to be like him.
Yeah, I found her more annoying.
Yeah,
she was all right, but I found her kind of annoying.
She has more to do in the books though, so.
Yeah, I'd say K2 is my number 1 of the new droids, and I'd actually put L3 at number 2 because I hate BB-8.
Oh no,
whoa.
I love
BB-8.
Spicy
because
hot take.
I feel that they are disrespecting R2 by using BB-8 too damn much.
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
So and that's why I'm just like, nah, I'm not getting on this train. R2's my dude. Like that's my homie. I'm not getting on this little BB-8 train.
Hot takes.
That's a very hot take. But I can totally see that because I am on that opinion that R2, not enough R2 in the sequel trilogy at all.
Not
he's
nearly enough.
Barely in the Force Awakens. Yeah, and he does have a really key moment in Last Jedi of bringing Luke back into the conflict, but that's really all he does.
Yeah.
And then he's again barely used,
criminally underused
in the Rise of Skywalker. I mean, he gets to fly with Poe at the very end. He gets the message in the very beginning of the movie, but that's really it. I mean,
Interesting. I've never heard that take before.
I mean, I get it.
But I get it.
I mean, R2, you say R2 is the most important character in Star Wars ever.
He is. He saves everybody all the time.
he knew the entire time. He knew everything.
Yep.
You know, and so he's the one. He could have told Luke right off the bat, "Yo, dude, that's your dad. Hey, that's your dad, dude." But he was like, "Nah, this is your journey to go on. I can't spoil that."
So we actually saw a comment like this on Twitter. You told me that what was it? It was somebody.
It was basically why didn't R2
just tell him? And we had this argument of R2 was there for almost all of the story, but it's almost like he doesn't know the full story. You know what I mean? Like he was there on Mustafar, but he was told to stay with the ship, so he doesn't know 100% of what went on in there. He wasn't there for the whole Order 66 when Anakin was going through the Jedi Temple and killing Jedi kids and younglings and stuff like that. So he's like, I equate it to like maybe like somebody's right hand man of like a mafia gang or something like that. That doesn't know the full story, but you're there for everything.
Like when a husband and wife, like a Mr. and Mrs. whatever, that Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't know that my husband was a government operative.
Yeah.
But I'm his wife.
Yeah, so like you're there, he's there for the story, but
Maybe.
he didn't get told the whole truth. So like that's what I kind of equated to, or something like that. It's like, yeah, he knows a lot, but he doesn't know the whole, or he has bits and pieces. Like, oh, I saw him go into that room. Don't know what he did in that room, but he went in that room.
But I
You know
bet
what I mean?
I bet there's gossip around the galaxy.
Yeah.
See, I'm on the other side of that, and I'm going that 50% R2, he's just a dick, and he's like, nah, I ain't telling you shit, dude. And the other 50% is like, yo, it's not my place to tell you.
Yeah.
And I go back to that scene in Empire where you know they finally find Yoda, and Yoda's like hitting him with a stick.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's Yoda going, hey, bitch, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can cuss on your show. My
You
bad.
can do whatever you
You
want.
can. We try not to as much on Beyond the Schmodown. We swear
You
all the
be
time.
you.
We try not to because this Star Wars show. Kids might be watching. I doubt any kids watch our shows.
Doubt it.
But if it flies, it flies.
But I could totally see that.
I normally do pretty good at not cussing. I don't know why that.
Yeah, man.
When I
Star
start talking, aren't you? I get heated. my
Star
dude.
Wars, man, brings the best out of everybody, and the best. Some people can't handle you at your best, so
Yeah, you can't handle me at my worst, and you don't deserve me at
Yeah.
my R2 best.
so yeah, the Genevieve O'Reilly's kind of like a no duh to me. Like, yeah, of course she's in there. I don't know why we're reporting on this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other bits and pieces there, people getting cast that we have no idea who they're gonna be, but I'm just gonna wait for the show to come out and whatever. So
She's,
Yeah.
she's Moira in Overwatch also.
Oh, yeah,
you
that's
just don't want
right.
to disrespect her. So
Love it.
the next story we have, Anthony Daniels recording C-3PO dialogue for a future Star Wars animation project. Would you look at that? If you're wondering if he would ever return to the role, I guess it was confirmed by none other than Anthony Daniels himself.
on Twitter, yeah.
So yeah, he did something on Twitter, something on Instagram, confirming that he's down for an animation thing.
I don't know what this new animation project, like animation project can mean multiple things. It could be a video game because I think they just announced Battlefront 3 is coming out 2021, which, okay, whatever. I haven't been insane about the Battlefront games. I mean, I like the story mode in Battlefront 2, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a fun little shoot 'em up game, but I've had my problems with that end of the video game spectrum for the longest time. It could mean, there's these little animated shorts on their YouTube channel that they do all the time. It could be that. It could be a new Dave Filoni animated project, which I don't know. It could be whatever. It could be, I don't know. It could be for
It could
Galaxy.
be Forces of Destiny.
Yeah,
it could be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything. Let's just go ahead and jump on the speculation train for a bit. What do you see this being for?
You know what? If I had to put money on something, it would probably be somewhere along the lines of Forces of Destiny, or something with the video games.
Yeah.
Because we know that eventually there might be a Rebels sequel series.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would see him really showing up too much in that, enough that he'd be talking about it now. Other than that, I think the best bet, if we was in Vegas, he's putting money down, I'm putting it on Forces of Destiny.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably it. I mean, we especially with the whole like unconfirmed casting of what's her name for Ahsoka. Oh God. What's her name?
Yeah.
What is her?
Eva Mendes. No.
No.
Yes.
No.
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson. Thank you.
That's why you need a debut.
Harloff, get on the phone right now. But yeah, with her being rumored or unconfirmed casting of her, I don't see the sequel animated show coming out just yet. Because why would you cast Ahsoka in live action and then immediately go into an animated show? It's like bring that in, bring everything you were gonna have an animated show, bring it into a live action, and that force. So this could be I'm gonna guess video game stuff because they're continuing doing DLC stuff for Battlefront 2. And I could see him being like an Easter egg for like a level or something. Like, oh, hey, it's C-3PO, and they just brought in voice. And like Anthony Daniels has been making money off of C-3PO for 40 plus years.
Yeah,
This is pretty much the only role he's been playing for the longest time. So
that's more of no duh than Mon Mothma. It's like
Yeah.
Anthony Daniels is coming back to voice C-3PO. Well, okay,
yeah, sure,
makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like if you can get any original person that did anything for Star Wars and bring them back into the fold for any project,
It's gonna be
like
Anthony Daniels.
you have to bring them in. And if Anthony Daniels, it's like, oh yeah, we're having 3PO for this small little role in the project. Do you have Anthony Daniels' number? Yeah, he's on speed dial. Okay,
Yeah.
let's bring him in, record a couple lines, and do that stuff. So
He's actually already called us just because we were thinking.
Yeah.
He's in the office right now.
Oh, okay, let's bring him in and record him. So yeah, I think this is sort of like it's kind of like a no duh, yeah, but it's like really the question is like, what is it for? How big of a role he has in it? It could, because he's shown up in Rebels and Clone Wars. He's more so in Clone Wars because he's a regular character in Clone Wars, but he has like, I believe it's a 2-episode arc in Rebels, where he's showing some dignitary around from the Empire or something like that, and it's very brief, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's Anthony Daniels, but
it's actually, I believe they're bringing back the Droids series from 1985. They're finally doing season 2 of Droids.
Finally. They know what the people want.
Yeah, so let us know in chat, guys. Again, leave your comments in the comment section. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and hit us up on Streamlabs, andrewandnikki.stream. Let me know if that link has been working. I haven't heard any complaints about that because the last time we had some kind of security risk type of thing going on with it. Yeah. But let us know with that. And before we get into the main topic for this this stream, I want to get to know your journey with Star Wars, because this show is all about celebrating Star Wars and all of its glory and all of its form. If you come in with negativity, you're not gonna be very welcome. But everybody has a different gateway into Star Wars. It was my oldest memory, like I've said several times. Nikki's more into the sequel trilogy, the more recent movies. That's when she really jumped in to the fandom. I want to know your story. What was your first experience with Star Wars? Who introduced it to you, and what was it like just going through life with as a Star Wars fan?
It's interesting, man. Like, cause I have a Star Wars show that I do, a monthly show, and anytime I ever bring on a new guest, something I used to always ask is, hey, what got you into Star Wars? And I love to hear those stories from people, because I love to hear why it is they became a Star Wars fan. And the sad part about that is because I don't have my own story. Oh. I don't remember a time not knowing Star Wars. I just always knew of Star Wars. I knew my parents had watched it and showed it to me when I was really young, and that's all. I don't remember when the first time I saw it was, or what the first film or what the first movie was. All I know is there was never a period in my life that I did not know Star Wars. It was always something that was just there. And it's why I became a film fan. It's why I fell in love with going to the movies. Like, one of my favorite things, go to the theater, which is what's driving me so nuts now during quarantine.
Yeah.
I can't go to a theater to watch it. But because I remember when the special editions came out, we went opening night, every single one, to go see it. My parents made sure to take me opening night to see it.
Sounds like me too.
And it was so much fun, man. And that goes back to when the prequels finally came out. I remember going to see them opening night, and loving them as much as I could. And it's just, Star Wars it's always I've always had the action figures. I've always had everything. It's always been something that, to me, it's quoted in everyday life. It's just a part of who I am.
Yeah, that's again, like last week we had Adat Chat on here, and like his story was very familiar too. It's like looking into a mirror. Like, that's basically my story too. It's like, I don't remember when I was first shown Star Wars, and it was always there for me. And what was it like, because you hear all these stories of people like, oh, I got bullied for being a Star Wars fan. That wasn't my experience. I was just always that kid in my class that couldn't stop talking about Star Wars. I was like the one kid. Oh, we got a Streamlabs in from Ferris Mathana. Let's go ahead and read that out.
Ferris is my dude. What up, Ferris?
So as that comes in, let's go ahead. But yeah, like it's like I never got bullied as a Star Wars kid. It was just, oh, Andrew's talking about Star Wars again. He's playing Star Wars by himself on the for recess again. But was that very similar for you? Were you like ever like shunned for being a Star Wars fan?
No, but at the same time, I was bigger than everybody else. So there's, you can't really bully me. It's like, oh, never mind, it's cool. If you
Never
want to like
mind.
that,
Star Wars is great.
you, bro, you. They're like, what are we playing on the playground? We're playing Star Wars. No, we don't like. We're playing Star Wars. I'm Darth Vader. So that's pretty much how that went. I never really had to do that. I do know that as I got older, I kind of hid a lot of the fact that I was such a nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't talk about it all the time. It wasn't until, oh God, I can't even remember what it was. Kind of the X-Men movies in like 2000.
Yeah.
That really I started going, yo, it's kind of okay to be a nerd. It's all right, y'all.
Yeah, it's kind of cool actually.
Yeah, you've seen that shift in this past decade. That like it's like growing up, it's like, oh, you like comic books, you like video games. Now the culture has shifted to where geek culture is a thing now. It's not this shameful thing anymore.
There's still pockets of people because I know I've caught a lot of shit at work for going to celebration.
But for the most part, if you like Star Wars, you're not like this geek person. It's just so commercial now. It's so mainstream. It's so like it's present, and a lot of it has to do with Marvel and the MCU and just not only Marvel but like all the comic book movies have had such an impact on nerd culture that it's not taboo anymore to be a comic book person or a geek or things like that. And it certainly wasn't like that when I was growing up. It was like, because like I would go to the comic book store every weekend and like get X-Men cards or look for another Star Wars action figure, and it's like I was the only one in my class that like, well, not the only one, but like there was like maybe like 3 or 4 of us that talked like comic books in my classroom, but everybody else was like into
nerds,
sports, and
it's kind of like people like me who were like the athletic jocks and the bullies and stuff that actually liked it. We grew up and we said, hey, it's okay now. I don't want to. All right, cool, man.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's go ahead and get to that Streamlab that Ferris Mathana dropped in.
Ferris Mathana, just being a cool dude. He just said, just love. Stay safe, y'all. Thanks, man.
Thank you to that. Ferris Mathana is a squadron commander for our Patreon.
Hell yeah.
Patreon, again, patreon.com/Andrew and Nick to become a member of the squadron. I didn't see a topic from him come in, but I'll double check Patreon when we get to that segment of the show. But anything else interesting that that you want to share about, like your inner Star Wars nerds, inner Star Wars geek that like that you just remember from your youth or from recently or anything like that?
Dude, something that another question I always ask that I'm kind of interested on what your thoughts are. What's your favorite Star Wars sound?
Ooh, that is a great question.
Sound. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'll let you kick that off because I have so many.
Because there's something like I'll be in a room and I'll just happen to walk in somewhere, and if it happens to be on TV, you know it from just the sounds, whatever's happening. Because it has a different sound to it.
Yeah.
And me, it's always the TIE fighters. Woo!
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's such a dope sound.
Wow.
Or even Slave One's like when it's flying.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's something that has always been to me something that I've loved about Star Wars.
Oh man, I would have to say, oof.
That's a really good
TIE fighter we just got. We got a subscriber, Eric. I can't read that.
Eric Frederick.
Eric Frederick, thank you for subscription. We also got another Streamlabs from Ferris Mathana.
What a bro.
We'll read that after we get to our sound. The TIE fighter is probably a good one. I would say, since I'm such an X-wing starfighter pilot guy, I would say the X-wing cannons is something that is very distinct. And because video games, I'd always like what was it, Shadows of the Empire? I would always fly. I would always like not even like bother with the rest of the game. I would just play the Hoth level over and over and over again. And then the Rogue Squadron games for GameCube and N64. Those ones I would play religiously because I love if I could be like one type of person in the Star Wars universe, it would be obviously Jedi, but the very close second is Rebel pilot. because that's just my thing. Wedge Antilles, give me that all day long. What would you say your favorite?
I'd probably say like the TIE Fighter. It's just such a unique sound.
It is. It is.
Like you can't mistake that because it's just too obvious to say lightsaber sound, like igniting a lightsaber.
Yeah.
That's just too basic. I don't want to be that bitch.
And
so.
it's I would argue it's like a transitional sound, if you get what I mean. Like anytime you get a shot of the Death Star or Star Destroyer or something like that, it always has a TIE Fighter flying by the camera or flying away from the camera, flying towards the camera, and that's to cue the audience off. Like, oh, yep, Empire. That sound. And it's like, okay, we're in a scene with the bad guys.
Yeah.
So that's a great answer. I think a close second for me would be the X-wing cannons.
Wow.
So let's get to that Streamlabs with Ferris Mathon. I'm trying to find the cursor here.
So I feel like this is a very BC directed question. So thank you, Ferris Mathana, again. If you have to recast main Star Wars villains, which good job being very topical with villains. If you had to recast main Star Wars villains with wrestlers, who would play who?
I'm deferring this entire question to you because
I haven't watched wrestling since like the Hardy Boys.
I was a fan during like the WCW era and stuff, but then I just felt, you're a kid and you get into it, but then you get to like high school age and then you stop watching. I haven't been following.
Most people do. But dude, this is the easiest one to do is Sting would be Darth Maul.
Oh yes.
Like if that's not perfect, I don't know what else
the
is.
Wolfpack red and black Sting, obviously that'd be
exactly. Exactly. And then of course you could always get Scott Steiner in there to do Darth Vader with some Steiner math going on. I think that would be hilarious.
Nice. Who would you recast as the Emperor? It would also have to be Vince, right? It would almost have to be Vince.
Yeah, well, it's either Vince or Ric Flair because they're about the same age.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I could just see Flair. Woo!
That's awesome.
Oh my God! Imagine anytime lightning comes out, you just get a Ric Flair.
We need somebody on Twitter to do that.
Oh my
God.
God.
Take every Empire like woo, like composite his face onto the video too. That'd be hilarious.
Oh my
Get
God.
on that, Twitter. Get on that.
So good.
Ferris Mathana, thank you so much for that question. That was awesome.
Ferris is my dude. He's a member of my Patreon too, man.
Hell
Too
yeah.
sweet, brother. Too sweet.
Man, I can't. These people, like the Schmodown community is unreal. Like the amount that they spread themselves. Like they get off of SEN, they go to
backstage,
then they
go to Outlaw Nation.
They go to Outlaw Nation.
Riley's Canteen.
And they go to the action industry.
Yeah.
They're like, their computers have to be like on 24/7 to like catch up on all the streams.
It's very admirable.
The action army. I don't know what they do for a living, but good Lord, they are some supportive people. I love the Action Army.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. We haven't been on an action call to action in a while. I gotta call them up.
Yeah, it's
get us on Schmobase or something.
Been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ferris Mathana, thank you so much for that Streamlabs, buddy. But since we're talking Star Wars villains, very topical, because that is the main topic of tonight's stream. Is Star Wars villain, not so much our favorite villains or things like that. It's just bring up a villain, we want to talk about them. Nikki, I'm going to let you head this off. What Star Wars villain would you want to talk about? If I just say Star Wars villain, what comes to mind?
Well, a couple of names, to be honest. And usually I'm just programmed to go to sequels.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd like to say that I think General Hux deserves more credit than he fucking gets.
Go straight to I thought you were going to go Kylo Ren, but that's a good point.
No, I love Kylo Ren. He's one of my favorites. But I think people really they take a shit on Hux, and I don't think he deserves it. I think he's great.
What are your thoughts on Hux, BC?
I loved Hux, man. I thought Hux was really fun. I liked him in the first one and Force Awakens, and I even liked his comedic tone in The Last Jedi. I thought it really worked. The only thing I did not like was in Rise of Skywalker where they do that little turn with him, and I'm like,
yes,
really?
I do agree with that.
This feels exactly like Rebels.
Yeah. That moment
literally.
Yeah,
it wasn't a
turning,
good
yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like about Hux is I feel they wasted him with that.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed. I didn't.
with
I
that.
was not a fan of that moment.
I mean, like, again, going into extended canon material, he has so much more to do in the canon books. Like, he helps, like, if in the Phasma novel, he like has Phasma help him like get to where he needs to be. Like, I believe I haven't listened to this book in a while, but I think he has Phasma help him out kill his father.
Oh,
so he can
dark.
take control. So it's like. That's the kind of stuff that Hux does. Like, he's a slimy, backstabbing
He's a
type
rabid
of dude.
cur.
Yeah.
Wait, Phasma did something?
Oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, she was criminally underused.
She was criminally underused too.
Man.
Like, she is a
I was so mad when they killed her. I was like, oh, this is gonna be the joke. She's gonna come back. Right? No, she's actually dead. That's some horseshit.
Yes, it was.
I mean, again, another character that has so much to do in the canon novels,
Yeah, and she's just so
but
cool.
just criminally underused in the movies. She does have a lot more to do in Resistance.
Yeah.
She's far more present in Resistance too. But like,
I would like to have
if you
seen
don't know
her.
her backstory, she grew up on this like underdeveloped world or underdeveloped part of her world, and like she has to like the conditions that she has to like endure daily is like acid rains on a daily basis, and like just it's the climate and everything on our planet is ridiculous. So if I could not recommend that book enough. Oh, we have another Streamlabs coming in.
Yeah, we do.
From
It is from the sinister Alec Miller.
another
Look at that.
squadron mate. Thank you for that Streamlabs, buddy.
Yeah, just started my dive into Star Wars canon and the Dooku novel and Master and Apprentice. They've given me a new respect for Dooku. Didn't care for him much, but I am way more interested in the character.
Yes, I like this. Keep those coming in with your suggestions because keep it villain centric.
Yeah.
Because this is a fantastic comment.
I think that Dooku is a little weak if we're looking at the prequels.
Yes. I mean, his
Alone.
again,
But
more in Clone Wars though too.
no spoilers. But listening to Maul talk about Dooku in
Yes.
most recent Clone Wars, you're like, ooh, that's a good little parallel there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, Master and Apprentice is a fantastic book. Goes a little bit more into his relationship with Qui-Gon and his teachings, and the audio drama that you can get on Audible with the Dooku and Asajj Ventress storyline is fantastic. I absolutely recommend.
They were was Asajj Ventress
Yes,
his
he was
apprentice?
grooming. He was grooming her to be his Sith apprentice to take the power from Sidious.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out, obviously.
Spoilers.
But
Not at all.
Oh man, I cannot recommend the audio drama enough because you get to see Dooku's when he was a Padawan and like it was such a big deal because in this audio drama, Yoda is referred to as the Grand Master, and there's only one Grand Master in the Jedi Order, and it's Yoda. And the only the Grand Master never takes an apprentice. And in this audio drama, he purposely picks Dooku. It's like, I want Dooku as my apprentice. And was like, what? The Grand Master is taking an apprentice? Oh my God. And it's such a big deal that he takes him. And it's just, you get to see his progression through Padawan. And then it jumps back and forth between timelines. And it's like his time with Yoda as an apprentice, with Sifo Dyas and his adventures, and with Qui-Gon and his apprenticeship with him. It's such a great story. And it's a quick listen. It's like about 8 hours. I know 8 hours sounds like a lot, but you can go through it.
To
I mean, we're in quarantine. You have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Pick up the audio drama of Dooku. It is fantastic. It's so good. But yeah, thank you for that Streamlabs. But yeah, Dooku in the movies is like. It's like, why is this guy? He's there so briefly. I was always the one for if we just stuck to the movies, like keep Maul for all 3 prequels. That would be great.
Maul
would have been great.
It would have been great. But again, with all Disney acquisition and they branch off all these other stories, now it's like, okay, now I get the character of Dooku now. I get it, and especially with all the Clone Wars stuff too. He has so much more to do in Clone Wars too. So yeah, Dooku's another not underrated, but underutilized in the movies. Has so much more in
and branching out to those novels probably it gives you a more well-rounded opinion of the guy.
And he was one of the first in the Order to recognize the downfall of the Jedi, of the things that Luke hints on in Last Jedi with the hubris and them getting caught up in their own power.
Woke.
He's one of the first Jedi to pick up on that. and there's other people too. Like I think Obi-Wan picks up on it at one point. Ahsoka, obviously, with this new arc that she's going through, picks up on that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let's continue this conversation of Star Wars villains. BC, and I say Star Wars villain. Where does your mind immediately go, or not immediately, but who would you like to bring up?
Obviously, like immediately, the first thought is Maul and Vader.
Yes.
Who they're both two characters that are like two of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
Not just villains, not just Star Wars characters. Any characters made, they're probably in my top 5.
Nice.
But like again, as I said, I wasn't much on the expanded universe when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There was one character that a buddy of mine pointed out to me that I always really liked, and like even my original AOL screen name had to do with him.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was Exar Khan.
Ooh.
And he was a Sith Lord. He was a Jedi who fell to the dark side, who carried 2 sabers. And that was the first time I saw that I was like, oh, this guy has 2 sabers? You can do that? So that was I never really knew much about him. All I knew is he had this big scar on his face, and he had 2. And I was like, this guy is a badass, man.
Mm-hmm.
Get out.
So
on the phone.
like again, like my first AOL screen name was XR Khan NWO DM for Darth Maul. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
but you look at like characters like Vader, and like he is like the quintessential like bad guy. Like I think like they've ranked like the 100 biggest bad guys of all time, and he's he's always in the conversation because he really is just like the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Top Darth, not Anakin Skywalker, but top Darth Vader moment for you. What would that be? Like you say Darth Vader moment, like, oh dude, yeah.
Opening moment when he walks into the ship, and he's just like, all right, cool, what's going on? You don't have the princess? I'm gonna choke the crap out of you. Fine, now tear the ship, let's go, come on.
I got my favorite Maul, or
Darth Vader moment.
Vader moment.
I'm pretty sure I know which one it is.
Rogue One?
The Rogue One scene.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's so, and that's
God.
right before he go.
Chills.
That's right before episode 4. It's right before your moment with him
Yeah, it
coming on the
ties
ship.
right
So it's
into
like, oh, we now know why he's so angry.
So when Rogue One was coming out, I watched one trailer. I watched that first trailer where all you see is the back of Vader's helmet.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, that's it. I'm not watching any more trailers for Rogue One because I don't want to see Vader till I see him on the screen. Right. That first scene of him walking through that smoke, and you see him coming. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I was crying.
I'm getting chills with you talking about it.
It's so good. I remember.
And so as the movie's coming to an end, I was like, man, we don't get to see Vader like be Vader. This sucks. I really wanted to see. So, here it is. Okay.
I remember anytime we go see a movie and moments like that come up, Nikki's always sitting next to me, and I'm the worst person to sit next to, especially when moments like that happens, because I'm like, it's happening. It's happening.
I'm exactly the same. That, Darth Maul and Solo, I'm like, this, do you know? It's, oh, bro.
Yep. Accurate.
Like it's Vader. It's Vader. It's Vader. So yeah, I think that's one of my top. I would say for villains, like, I mean, he's not talked about enough. Again, another character that isn't used so much in the movies. He's only in one movie, but the canon novels bring so much more to him, and he also shows up in Clone Wars and Rebels. Grand Moff Tarkin. Can we talk about Grand Moff Tarkin for a second? Because I don't think he gets enough credit. He's
a cold-hearted SOB.
Oh man, like he's the one that gives the order to blow up Alderaan. It's not Vader. It's not the Emperor. It's Tarkin says, "Go ahead and blow up that planet."
Didn't he say to her like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll
spare your planet if you tell me where the rebel base is."
Go ahead and blow it up, idiot.
Nope. We're gonna blow your planet up anyways. That's Tarkin, and like there's this whole thing with canon. It's called the Tarkin Doctrine, and it's like rule the galaxy through fear. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And it's like you want everybody to be afraid of you to the point where they don't want to step up.
Yeah, well, you did it.
And like,
you're terrifying.
and that's a theme that is dragged on to the sequels, because that's a big thing in the Rise of Skywalker. Everybody's so scared to step up that they forget there's more people in the galaxy than there are of the bad people.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest point in the galaxy. Everybody rises up and realizes, oh, yeah, no,
wait a minute.
there's more of us than are them. So if we fight back, we can beat this. And all that fear goes back to Tarkin. He did the stuff that everybody's afraid that was gonna happen if the galaxy didn't comply with what they were doing. And like
not to mention, he's the only one other than the Emperor, who can be like, "Yo, Vader, shut up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vader just, cool, man.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
You know, like he literally talks down to him. He's like, "Look, hey, enough of that. Stop."
Yeah, Vader, release him. Oh, as you wish. I'm sorry.
Oh,
My bad.
excuse me. The men are talking here. Shut up.
And like the Tarkin novel is probably is like in my top 4 of favorites. That is like again, I listened to it on Audible. This is a smart sounding book, and it's like it's written from his perspective, and the way it's written, the way that the person narrates it, it's like I feel smarter for listening to this. Because he's such a methodical guy. He plays the long game. He looks at every single angle politically. That it's if you haven't read it, if you haven't listened to it, I would highly recommend. It will open your eyes to the character of Tarkin and how he rose the ranks to become Grand Moff. And in that book, he's also he has the same relationship he has with Vader in A New Hope. In this book, he's not afraid of Vader at all. And it says so much about his character. It's like, here's this guy that everybody is afraid of being choked out. He's like, no. I call the shots here. This is my mission. I'm calling the shots. So like that's a character I don't think gets enough credit from Star Wars fans.
So who do you think is more of a strategic kind of leader, him or Thrawn?
Ooh. Thank you for the transition, because I was just about to drop his name for the next villain we want to talk about. So what are your
counter question.
No. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on Thrawn? Like, when were you introduced to him? When, like, because I have my own thoughts about Thrawn.
I had known about Thrawn,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't read the books. I didn't know. I knew he was a badass. I knew the books were incredible, but I didn't really meet him until he shows up in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And when he shows up in Rebels, I'm a little underwhelmed by him. So everyone talks about how much they love Thrawn, and that's why I asked you that, because I'm like, Tarkin's kind of more of a badass than he is, I think.
So again, your perception with these characters is sort of your reality with them. You have no idea who Thrawn is.
I'm not familiar with Thrawn.
So you're like, who the hell is Thrawn?
I mean, he's blue.
So you're
there you go. He's the blue guy.
He's the blue
so
guy.
your experience with Thrawn is very, because I don't like Thrawn in Rebels so much. I get what they're trying to do with him. But you have to read his novels. The way he looks at things is ridiculous. He predicts things. He almost can tell you what you're gonna do next before you even think it. And he does it all the time in his novels, almost to an amount that's ridiculous. Like,
is he a Force user?
No, but there's this arc in one of his books where the Chiss they're called navigators, I believe. No, they're called Skywalkers.
Oh,
so it's the loose translation of what their title is in whatever language they speak in the Chiss speak. That word is translated to Skywalker, and what they basically do is they use the Force to navigate through hyperspace, and it's really cool. But like Thrawn, I don't see him as a villain.
Ooh.
In Rebels, he's totally the villain in Rebels. He does things in Rebels that's like, yep, he's a clear villain. But when you read his books, Thrawn does things to benefit his outcome, and it also happens to benefit the outcome of the Empire. So he'll do things to position himself to get into that best suits his outcome, and the second person that benefits is the Empire, because it always leads back to the Chiss ascendancy. Everything he's doing is to make sure the Chiss ascendancy is still in power in the outer unknown regions of space. So he comes through to the known galaxy to study the Empire, to make sure that they're not a threat to the Chiss ascendancy, and he just so happens to go into their ranks and become this Grand Admiral, and like now he has all these means to make sure that the Empire isn't pointed at the Chiss ascendancy. So, and I'm waiting to see, because I think there's 3 books so far, and there's another one coming out, and it's called the Chiss ascendancy, I believe so. But I've thoroughly enjoyed those books, just for the pure fact of Thrawn outsmarting everybody. Like it's unbelievable. It's like Batman level outwitting people.
Yeah.
Like he's when you think he's 2 steps ahead of you, he's 10 steps ahead of you. You thinking he's 3 steps ahead of you. It's that ridiculous.
And that's what everyone has said, and everyone swears by the books.
Yes.
And my co-host on my Star Wars show, Nigel, he's reading them and he reviews them every time he reads one, and he loves every single one. He's like, okay, have you read it? I'm like, no, I can't read, bro.
Get the audio. I'm the same way. I'm a legendary snail reader. If I was to pick any Star Wars novel, it would take me a year to get through. I'm so slow at reading.
I don't read.
I don't read. But like the audiobooks, again, treat yourself to the audiobooks if you don't want to read any of the books, because like you can breeze through them in a day, and like they have sound effects and music, and the Thrawn novels are so great because they're narrated by Mark Thompson. I don't know if you know that name. He's the best Star Wars narrator out of anybody, and his Thrawn is spot on. It is like, I'm listening to Thrawn read this novel right now because it's so good. So I would totally recommend those books. I think once you listen to those books, your opinion on Thrawn will completely twist, and you'll be like me. I don't think Thrawn is a villain. I just think he just happens to be caught up in his rank as a member of the Empire.
If the original question was something along the lines of who do you think has the better, like, what strategic type mind and whatever, Thrawn or Tarkin, probably Thrawn. It sounds like
Thrawn. And when you're speaking in a military sense, Thrawn. When you're talking political sense, I say Tarkin. Tarkin plays the better political game than Thrawn does.
Interesting.
He can.
Who would you rather play chess against?
Who would I rather play Dejarik against? Oh, jeez.
Space Star Wars. Wait,
space chess.
Space chess.
Neither. I'm like, I would get to like, I would be one move in, and like they'd smile, like, oh, okay, no.
Oh no, don't do that. They know what I'm gonna do.
No, I would get demolished by either of them. They're so but like if you're talking to me, if you wanted to make a political moves, I'd pick Tarkin. If you want to do military strategic strategy, I obviously go with Thrawn.
Who are you more scared of?
Thrawn. I say Thrawn because in the last novel that I listened to, he beats another Grand Admiral. Spoiler alert, sorry.
Oh no.
But because his thing is looking at art and knowing and learning your strategy through that, and like,
they tried to show that in Rebels.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard to understand that from Rebels, but when you listen, because like this guy Admiral that he beats, he's like, I don't do any art. I'm not artistic. It's like, but you like opera and you compose music. And he listened to all his music that he composed, and he tied his music to his military strategy, and it's like, so it's so amazing how his mind works. It's cool.
I kind of want to see a Thrawn movie.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
The thought of Thrawn. It's just, again, as someone who loves the series and stuff, I was like, I wanted more from him in the show, in Rebels. I wish Rebels could have done better.
I would say Rebels is a nice gateway to Thrawn. It's just your view into him is so like narrowed. Like you're only seeing one part of his story, basically. It's like if you met, I'm trying to think of somebody. Like if you met somebody that's this amazing person, but you meet them at their worst time in their life, and they're like this bad person. You're only seeing them, so all your judgment's based off of that one experience with them. But then you're not aware of this other whole arcing story with them. So I would absolutely recommend listening to those books because the character's amazing. And I actually have the Legends story with him, Heir to the Empire, downloaded onto my Audible. I just have yet to start it up yet because it's hard to confuse. To listen to canon novels and legend novels at the same time and keep what is what. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever.
I'm with you.
No, it's so hard to keep track of. But so if you have any questions about villains, guys, go ahead and drop some Streamlabs again. Andrew and Nicki.stream for their Streamlabs. We're gonna talk briefly. Still about these because we have about 5 more minutes. Any other villains you want to like talk about, like underrated villains, things like because we've been talking. Because I like this conversation. We did briefly touch on Darth Vader and stuff, but I like this going into other villains and
because like Palpatine is like the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Phasma got cucked. Boba got cooked.
Oh, Boba Fett, man, come on.
Did y'all like Kylo Ren turning into Ben?
I was on the road of like I didn't want Ben Solo to be redeemed, but if they were going to do it, I think they did it well.
I think it was all right.
I think that's the only. If you were going to redeem him, that was probably the best case scenario we were gonna get.
See, I did not want him redeemed at all. I wanted him to finish off as the bad guy. I wanted him to be the villain. I felt he had his moment when him and Rey, kill Snoke and have that big battle. And Rey's like, all right, we're good now. And he's like, yeah, let's control the galaxy together. Let's do this. Wait, no, you missed the whole point, bro. I like bad guy Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And what maybe would have made me like the turn better. I didn't like Han showing up there.
Oh, that's my favorite scene in the movie.
Because here's my thought. I go, look, he's irredeemable. He killed Han Solo, one of the greatest characters in all the Star Wars.
Yep.
And they go, well, yeah, but he forgave him. No, a vision in his own head of his father forgave him. Han Solo's not a Jedi. Yeah. He couldn't come back and forgive him. So that wasn't actually Han Solo.
It was like a hallucination
in his head. Yeah. That's him going, my dad forgives me. It's fine. No. But let's say you take that scene. And instead of Harrison Ford, Anakin Skywalker shows up.
That is
Kylo
awesome.
And go, hey, my dude, you're chasing the wrong version of me.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's Vader. That's not me, my dude.
Yeah.
You've been looking up to me your whole life. That's not who this is who I am. Anakin Skywalker, bro.
Yeah. That would be really cool.
That is, you should have called that was J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
Damn it. We really missed our opportunity.
Right?
That's a fantastic point.
I like that a lot.
Much more sense. Yeah. Not to mention, it ties everything back together.
That would be fantastic. That sounds really cool.
The entire Star Wars fan base has accepted
Hayden Christensen. Yeah.
Wow.
How great would that have been?
That's fantastic.
To see Force Ghost Hayden show up.
That would have been cool.
Yes.
I mean, we sort of get him in the very final moments of the movie with the Force,
for a half
the voice.
second.
Yeah, but
I'm kind of pissed now. That's not how it happened.
That would have been really cool. I'm not gonna lie, that would have been really cool.
Wow.
But, yeah, because like again, that scene is my favorite scene in the entire movie. I know some people have some gripes with it, but like I love that moment. And like I think guaranteed the reason Harrison Ford had to come back was because Carrie Fisher wasn't there. Yeah. If Carrie Fisher had been alive, I think they would have swapped that. It would have been her force projecting herself there. But circumstances, I think that's what it is. But I do like that idea of Anakin Skywalker.
A fantastic
and
idea.
I do like that point of it ties it rather than the Emperor being the sole person tying all 9 movies together. You have the chosen one, or one of the chosen ones, coming back to redeem his grandson.
He's been looking at this helmet his whole life.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd been really cool. I think that would have been like a Force Ghost moment, like where you're like, oh, whoa, that's awesome. And even another one of those, it's Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. That would have been really cool. Damn it,
Yeah.
JJ.
Damn.
Wow.
Get BC on the writing staff at Lucasfilm.
See, come on, call me up. I got ideas here.
Someone needs to make a fan film with that scene. Damn.
Have you ever seen the fan film reconstructed fight of Vader and Obi-Wan?
Yes. That's really cool.
Bro,
That's
I
really cool.
love that so much. I want to cut. I want them to just kind of put that into the movie.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good though.
Yeah, so we're going to be on for another minute or two, guys. Before we end, we're going to get to Patreon questions, Patreon topics. Our squadron commanders at the $20 tier get to dictate the conversation on all of our weekly shows on Going Rogue, our live Star Wars stream, and then our Beyond the Schmodown weekly Schmodown podcast. We have another from, guess who? Ferris Mathana. What villain do you guys prefer? Do you prefer the ones that are just pure evil, or the ones that you think have redeeming redemption stories? So like just
pure evil,
evil, or the arc of the redemption stories, like your Darth Vaders, your Kylo Rens, your whoever else has redeeming qualities. So do you prefer just pure evil, or do you prefer, so I think what he's getting at is would you rather have a villain have a possibility of turning, or would you just have the person just be straight evil, like lost cause, like to people?
Look, I love that Vader had his arc and turned back. All right, that one I'm okay with. Other than that, dude, just be the bad guy.
Yes.
Darth Maul was just the bad guy.
Yes.
Kylo Ren could have just been the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, look, Thanos was just the bad guy.
Yeah.
He didn't think he was a bad guy.
You might look at him and you go, "Ooh, I kind of get it, bro.
Yeah.
I get it. You're the bad guy, but I get it. I get it."
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the villain.
And he's
I liked it. He is a bad guy, but I kind of get your point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's an
how
excellent
that's how I think villains need to be.
Yeah. With Anakin Vader, like you said, you're totally right. We saw him from 9 years old, you know?
Yeah.
So it felt good to see him redeemed. But if I'm gonna see a Palpatine, if I'm gonna see Snoke was
Spoiler alert.
Palpatine, Maul, you know, they were just bad from the get-go. The moment you saw them, they were bad from beginning to end, and it's kind of just nice to see somebody just be bad the whole time.
That's the one thing about Kylo.
It was comforting to see Anakin come back to the Anakin we knew. So
Yeah.
I like that point that, you know, if we see you kind of become bad, it's nice to see you come back.
Yeah.
But if you start bad, fucking just stay there.
Yeah, and I like
And
that point.
I love the turn. I love the turn that Anakin even takes. Like, a lot of people don't like that moment when he becomes Vader.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoy it because I still sit there and go, I get it. Like, you shouldn't. I understand what Samuel Jackson's saying. Like, hey, we got to kill this motherfucker. But at the same time, Anakin's like, yo, dude, that's not the Jedi way.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It works. And you're like, ugh, I get it. But yeah, Samuel Jackson needs to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I would rather see just let the bad guy be the bad guy because
Yeah.
I think that again, that comparison to Thanos of like he doesn't see him as bad. He just sees himself.
He thinks he's doing the
He
right
thinks
thing.
he's doing the best for the universe and what needs to be done. It's just we see him as the bad guy, and yeah, he's completely the bad guy. I think another like comparison, like again, we just talked about in this episode was Tarkin. Tarkin's just doing what he thinks is right for the galaxy, and like he thinks he's bringing order to the galaxy by blowing up a planet.
Yeah, he's just wrong.
He's just wrong. He's doing absolutely evil stuff, but like, yeah, this is what we need to do because the galaxy can't rule itself. We've seen what the people do with when decisions are left up to the people. They make the wrong decisions. So we're gonna make the decisions for you, and to make sure that you don't step out of line, we're gonna make an example of this planet. So I like that aspect of villains. I do agree that the villains should just be villains. Don't try to redeem them. I think the only reason Ben Solo needed to redeem because he was the last surviving Skywalker. That's the biggest argument for Ben Solo. And I didn't want Ben Solo to be redeemed, but I do think they did it the best way possible.
Give or take that kiss. They could have just hugged each other.
That
or something.
kiss of gratitude.
You know.
Oh my
And
god.
exactly. I don't care what JJ says. Finn was going to tell her that he was in love with her.
I kind of agree.
All right? I don't care. It's Finn and Rey.
Yeah.
Not Rey and Kylo.
Yeah, he is totally sweet for her.
That's a conversation and debate for another time.
Yeah.
But we were
In that moment, if you think you're going to die, it's not going to be like, I can move stuff with my mind. It's going to be, I love you.
my problem with people jumping on that quote when that came out on Twitter, it's like they cut off that quote in mid-sentence.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it was a kiss of gratitude. But then the quote keeps going. It's like a kiss of gratitude that I can't remember, like a celebration that they found each other at last. I'm like, that shit sounds like wedding vows. I'm sorry. It's like, you got to keep reading the quote, people. Keep reading the quote and like, okay, yeah, no, it's a romantic kiss.
Yeah, no. I've never kissed one of my friends like, wow, sick. Thanks for dinner, bro. Mwah. It's weird.
Anyways, so I think
with one quick interjection, Alec Miller, I like what they were just saying. Thanos was a pure bad guy in Endgame. In Endgame, Thanos was a pure bad guy in Endgame. In Infinity War, he was not pure evil.
That's true. That's true.
The best villains for me are not pure evil ones. It's the ones that make you step back and think. That's a fun.
Somebody was watching SCN Live today.
Yeah, somebody might have watched SCN today. But it's true.
They said exactly that on SCN Live today. But yeah, that's completely true. That like, I think the bad guys don't start off completely bad.
Yeah.
It's just their intentions end up becoming bad, and they end up being driven by their intentions.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, goes with Anakin. He just wanted to save Padme.
Yeah, and his actions led him down the dark path.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you again, everybody, for your Streamlabs. Thank you for your comments, Ferris Mathana. Thank you for everything that you do for us on a regular basis as fan. So BC, thank you so much for joining us. I had a blast talking to you about Star Wars. We got to have you on Beyond the Schmodown because you're gonna debut eventually.
Eventually, I'm going to debut and I'm going to kick a lot of ass. Hopefully. And if I don't kick ass in the match, then I'm just going to beat the crap out of whoever beats me. So
there you go. It is what it
Deal
is.
with the muscle of the exchange, people. Deal with the muscle of the exchange. But where can they find you online, my man?
You can find me on all social media at Real Jackass BC, RealJackass BC, Instagram, Twitter, even on TikTok now, because I'm really bored. My podcast, It Is What It Is with the Jackass, comes out every Thursday on Cinelinks.com and the Offshoots Radio Network, wherever podcasts are found. And my Patreon, patreon.com/JackassNation, YouTube.com/JackassNation.
Excellent. Nicki Dimalanta, where can they find you online?
Twitter, mainly at Dimmy, DIMMMYYY.
Excellent. And for me, you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Drew Dimalanta, DIMALNTA. If you haven't already, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live on this stream every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can find our Beyond the Schmodown, our weekly Schmodown podcast every Monday, premieres on YouTube and on anywhere you can find podcasts. If you want to support the channel, if you can't do anything else, but you can like the video. You can go on to wherever you listen to podcasts, rate our podcast, because this does show up on the Beyond the Schmodown podcast feed. That'll help the show out tremendously. And another way you can also support the channel is by joining our Patreon. Become a member of the Squadron. We're calling our Patreon members the member of the Squadron. Patreon.com/Andrew and Nicki. Like you see these wonderful people here. Sorry, you're not seeing BC on the screen anymore because we got to promote the Patreon. So thank you to our Squadron officers that you see on the screen right now. Thank you to our Squadron commanders, Tamar Butter, and guess who again? Ferris Mathana again. Thank you so much for your continued support and your patronage. Anything else we gotta do? I think that's it, right?
I think that's it.
Yeah. So thank you again, BC, for joining us. I'm gonna reach out to you again to be on our Beyond the Schmodown podcast.
Hell yeah.
Eventually.
Thank you guys.
Great.
It was so much fun to come on here. I love shows that we celebrate Star Wars. Yes. I love the positivity that you guys.
Yes. And hopefully we will see you at Celebration if that happens.
God willing.
Hopefully,
but
maybe not in August. Maybe they'll just push it back. But hopefully, we see you.
I can tell you they haven't opened press yet, which is that's frightening to me.
It's very frightening. But yeah. So thank you again for joining us, guys. Thank you for everybody out there on YouTube watching us live, and thank you for those of us watching on the repeat. And thank you again for BC for joining us. And we'll see you guys next week on Going Rogue. May the Force be with you always.